Welcome back, football fans.
Nobody wants to play Chelsea.
When he's sitting second in the Premier League in December, you are definitely in the title race.
In this game, here's Gittins. Gittins!
Had the composure to turn. Cole Palmer!
Let's not waste time. The year is 2026. Chelsea Football Club has gone from being a punchline to a threat, a serious one. You blinked, and now they've got a team that doesn't just play football, they impose it. 3 years ago, they were all over the place. Managers changing like socks, young signings with no direction, fans asking, what's the plan here? Fast forward to now, and suddenly everyone's asking, wait, when did Chelsea become this good? Here's the thing, they didn't rebuild loudly, they didn't brag, they just worked. And what they've built is scary, deep squad, tactical clarity, players who aren't just talented, they're fearless, and most of them, still under 25. Stay with us, because we're diving into exactly how Chelsea quietly built a 2026 squad that looks ready to conquer. We'll break down the transformation, the stars, the tactics, and why even the biggest clubs in Europe are starting to sweat. Let's set the stage. Let's rewind to 2023 for a second. Chelsea was spending money like they had a cheat code, but no one could figure out what they were actually buying. Enzo Fernández for over £100 million sterling, 0 pence. Moisés Caicedo for even more. Mikhailo Mudryk, None Madueke, Benoit Badiashile, plus a dozen other names that sounded more like a football manager wish list than a coherent transfer strategy. It looked like career mode on FIFA, with the budget slider maxed out. To most people, it looked wild, directionless. But here's what almost everyone missed. There was a plan, it just looked like chaos from the outside. Chelsea weren't buying for the moment, they were stockpiling for the future. The board knew they weren't going to win the league in 2024, probably not even in 2025. This wasn't about next weekend's result, it was about laying the groundwork for 2026 and beyond. Yeah, it was ugly in the short term. Fans were restless, every week felt like another tactical experiment. Managers struggled to build momentum, the media laughed, pundits rolled their eyes and called it a mess. But while the headlines mocked, something real was happening behind the curtain. Chelsea stopped chasing shiny objects. They started cutting the fat, the bloated squad trimmed down, players who didn't fit the long-term vision were moved on, and then, finally, they made a hire that actually made sense. A coach who looked past the noise and saw the potential. Young players who were once just names on a spreadsheet, they got minutes, they got clarity, they got proper development. The revolving door of confusion started to slow, and for the first time in a long time, there was actual structure. By the middle of 2025, the fog started to lift, and the results weren't just better, they were believable. The system was producing repeatable performances. Youth development wasn't some bonus project on the side, it was the project. Chelsea weren't just hoarding prospects anymore, they were forging a team. Sure, to the casual observer, it still looked like chaos, but from the inside, it was a controlled burn, intentionally clearing out the dead wood so something stronger could grow in its place. And let's be honest, Chelsea cycled through managers like a toddler goes through snacks. Tuchel, Potter, Lampard, again, Pochettino, all of them smart, all of them capable, none of them the guy. Then came 2025. That's when everything changed. The club made what might go down as one of the smartest decisions in its modern history. They hired a coach who didn't just tolerate the chaos, he understood it. Some say it was Ruben Amorim. Others whisper about a rising name from Europe's elite coaching tree. Whoever it was, the label didn't matter. What mattered was this. They knew how to coach. Not superstars, not egos, young players. They walked into Cobham, looked at the raw mismatched talent and said, we're simplifying. We're building something real. No more square pegs in round holes. No more weekly formation roulette. No more pretending 21-year-olds are supposed to have it all figured out. This coach brought clarity. And finally, Chelsea started to look like a team again. You could see it in how the team moved. Pressing with intent, moving like one organism, compact without the ball, brave and deliberate with it. Transitions, ruthless. Possession, not for show. Every pass had purpose. This wasn't just a manager, it was an architect, a steady hand in the storm. Someone who didn't just teach players how to win games, but how to win moments. Big high-pressure moments, the ones that separate contenders from also-rans. And the most important thing, trust. It started on the training pitch, between the players, then between the players and the staff, and eventually, finally, it made its way back to the stands. Fans stopped holding their breath every time the ball went backwards. They stopped bracing for disaster every time the team went behind. They started to believe again. Because once Chelsea had someone on the touchline who could teach, everything else began to click into place. By 2026, the names that once raised eyebrows for their price tags, they weren't just justified, they were feared. Enzo Fernández, still only 25, played with the composure of someone 10 years older, calm under pressure, always scanning, his passing precise, not just for show, but slicing teams apart. You could see it, he was 2 moves ahead of everyone on the pitch. Moisés Caicedo, a complete midfielder. The rawness was gone. He'd evolved into a destroyer-creator hybrid, a midfield engine with bite and vision. He tackled like he meant it, and launched attacks like he was conducting an orchestra. Relentless, smart, and everywhere at once. And then there's Cole Palmer. Remember when City sold him and people thought it was a smart bit of business? Well, they weren't laughing in 2026. Palmer had ice in his veins and chaos in his boots. He became one of the most clutch attackers in the league, scoring when it mattered most, gliding past defenders, dictating tempo in the final third. He wasn't just part of Chelsea's attack, he was the attack. Michailo Mudryk, the chaos had evolved into calculation. He didn't just sprint, he chose his moments. He picked his spots. The dribbling had purpose now, and defenders dreaded facing him. That potential label, gone. He was a full-blown problem. And don't forget the names that used to live on loan watch lists. André Santos, Carney Chukwuemeka, Cesare Casadei. In 2026, they weren't footnotes. They were weapons. Trusted, mature, and dangerous, not future stars, present threats. This is what Chelsea had been quietly building all along, a core of players, aged 21 to 25, growing together, maturing at the same time, sharpening each other, and now peaking together. This wasn't a young squad with promise anymore. This was a fully loaded, fully functioning group of killers. And the terrifying part? That they were still getting better. Midfields win matches, they control tempo, they decide what kind of game gets played. And Chelsea's midfield in 2026, it was a nightmare for anyone trying to breathe through the middle. Let's break it down. Caicedo's the enforcer, the firewall. He smells danger before it even shows up. He doesn't just make tackles, he erases your rhythm. He's the reason your star playmaker goes quiet. Next to him is Enzo, the metronome. He doesn't need to run past you, he just thinks faster. Line-haking passes, disguised through balls, quick pivots into space. He's not flashy, he's lethal. A modern maestro with South American fire in his veins. This midfield doesn't just hold the line, it dictates the entire conversation. And then, you've got the wild cards. Carney Chukwuemeka, press-resistant, fearless, and glides past markers like he's skating. It's almost unfair how easy he makes it look. He carries himself like a seasoned pro, like someone who's been running Premier League midfields for a decade. But he's only just turning 23. There's no panic in his game, just poise, power, and precision. He doesn't just receive under pressure, he invites it, turns it into space, and breaks lines with a single stride. Then there's André Santos, the box-to-box engine. He's got that unpredictable flair you expect from a Brazilian, but what really makes him dangerous is how disciplined he is. Think of Paulinho, but adds sharper vision, a more refined touch, and a bigger defensive bite. He'll get stuck in, but 5 seconds later, he's arriving late into the box with intent. And Cesare Casadei, tall, technical, and aggressive. He plays like every duel is personal. a chaos agent in midfield who can flip the script in an instant. He's not just physical, he's direct. A vertical runner who breaks defensive shapes with one touch, or a well-timed surge into the final third. His presence forces teams to backpedal, but here's the real secret behind this midfield: intensity, non-stop, suffocating, organized aggression. They don't just chase the ball, they hunt in packs. Win a second ball near them, good luck holding it. Lose the ball to them, they're already sprinting the other way. It's a midfield built for modern football. No passengers, no spectators, just intelligent, relentless movement and total commitment. These aren't support acts, they're the engine, the rhythm, the edge. You want to know why Chelsea's a serious threat in 2026? Look at the backline. No nonsense, no weak links, no soft underbelly. Just a terrifying blend of strength, speed, and calm. Levi Colwill is the centerpiece. Left-footed, smooth on the ball, never flustered. He's not just a defender, he's a launch pad. Reads the game like someone with 300 caps, and his passing range, pure elegance. Whether it's threading a ball through lines or switching play 50 yards, he makes it look easy. Next to him, Wesley Fofana. Finally healthy, finally unleashed. Explosive pace, dominant in duels, and nasty when he needs to be. He's the guy who strikers avoid, the one who makes you second guess every touch. Benoit Badiashile slots in like a shadow. Clean, calm, and always one step ahead. No highlight reels, just high-level consistency. He's the kind of defender managers trust to do the right thing 99 out of 100 times. Out wide, Reece James, when fit, still owns that right flank. Leader's mentality, elite one-on-one defending, and crosses like a sniper. But now, he's mentoring Malo Gusto, who's turning into a beast in his own right. Aggressive, technical, fearless going forward. On the left, you've got options. Marco Cucurella brings the fire, the fight, the constant pressure. Ian Maatson adds finesse, balance, and surgical decision-making. Pick your style, either way it works. And behind them, a keeper who's commanding. Maybe George Petrovic, maybe someone new, but whoever's between the posts, they're owning their area and playing out from the back like it's second nature. This defense isn't just about stopping goals. It's about starting attacks, recycling possession, and making you suffer without the ball. There are no easy chances here, no mistakes, no fear. This is a backline you don't want to play against. By 2026, Chelsea doesn't just score goals, they overwhelm you. This front line, it's built to break rhythm, pull defenses apart, and punish you for every inch of space. Let's start with Cole Palmer. If there's a more intelligent forward under 25 in Europe, you'd be hard-pressed to find him. Drifts inside, combines in tight spaces, and delivers in clutch moments. He's not flashy, he's efficient, and deadly. Next up, Christopher Nkunku. Now, fully integrated, he's the glue guy, the chaos merchant. False nine, sure. Second striker, done. Wide left drifting inside, why not? He finds pockets, pulls markers, and creates overloads. His movement breaks defensive shape, and his finishing, icy. Then, there's Mykhailo Mudryk, the sprinter who finally learned how to slow down when it matters. He doesn't just run anymore, he chooses when to strike. Add in a better first touch, more mature decision making, and you've got a winger who can flip a game in 10 seconds. Need options? Noni Madueke off the bench is an instant injection of flair, left-footed, tricky, direct. He's a headache for tired fullbacks. And Armando Broja, fully fit, gives you that physical edge. Presses hard, crashes the box, and never stops running. But the real wildcard, a young forward, possibly from the academy or a smart South American pickup who stepped up as the next big name. Think Endrick-style impact. Fast, fearless, and impossible to read. This attack isn't about having one star, it's about having 4 or 5 players who can all play different roles, all rotate, all press, and all score. You can't mark them all, and when you focus on one, another pops up. This isn't just depth, it's strategic chaos, and it's working. Here's the thing about Chelsea in 2026. Finally know who they are. For years it felt like they were improvising, switching systems, reacting instead of dictating, a little Tuchel press here, a little Potter possession there, no identity, no spine. But now, they've got a clear tactical blueprint, and it's terrifying for opponents. It's aggressive without being reckless, pressing with coordination, not chaos, trapping opponents in wide areas, forcing mistakes and striking in waves. But it's not just gegenpressing vibes, they can control games too. When they have the ball, it's positional play with purpose, stretching the pitch, overloading one side, rotating attackers in and out of zones, the kind of stuff that gives defenders whiplash. Build-up starts from the keeper, through technically sound centre-backs like Colwill and Badiashile, the midfield trio, Caicedo, Enzo, and a rotating 8, move in triangles, bait pressure and break lines. In transition, they are lethal. 4 passes and they're at your box. But what makes it scary is how cohesive it all feels. You don't see gaps between the lines. You don't see players wondering where to stand. Everyone moves like they've trained together for years, because they have. And this isn't just a system that looks good on paper. It survives under pressure. It travels well in Europe. It adapts to big matches. It knows when to fight and when to finesse. For the first time in years, Chelsea isn't just talented, they're tactically dangerous. And now every top manager in Europe knows it. You know a team's dangerous when their bench looks like a starting lineup. That's Chelsea now. In 2026, you don't just have quality in the 11, you've got game changers sitting, waiting, hungry. Let's start with the obvious. Noni Madueke would start for 15 other clubs. At Chelsea, he's your impact sub, a chaos agent ready to twist up any backline that's getting too comfortable. Then there's Armando Broja, your 6'3" pressing machine. Doesn't start every match, but when he's on, defenders suddenly have no time to think. He presses like a madman and smashes into the box like a wrecking ball. Cesare Caicedo and Andre Santos. 2 young midfielders with completely different profiles, both technically sharp, both built for high-intensity football. If one's tired, the other steps in without dropping the level. Malo Gusto, ridiculously fast, defensively sound, and already pushing Reece James. When he comes in, there's no downgrade, just a fresh pair of legs with attitude. And look, we haven't even mentioned the academy talent. There's always 1 or 2 Cobham products who break into the squad and hold their own. In 2026, think a young creative midfielder or versatile wingback with minutes in Europe and a chip on their shoulder. This bench isn't about rotation, it's about match control. You're tired, Chelsea brings on speed. You're chasing, they bring on control. You think you've survived Palmer and Nkunku? Cool, now here's Madueke and Broja to deal with. Other teams run out of ideas after 60 minutes. Chelsea, they bring more problems. This squad isn't just deep, it's dangerous from top to bottom. Here's the truth that no one wants to admit. Chelsea is back. And not in the headline chasing, short-term high kind of way. This time, it's different. This time, it's sustainable. You talk to analysts around Europe and they'll all say the same thing. Chelsea's squad is built for the long game. Let's recap. They've got a young, hungry core that's already competing at a high level, and they're still nowhere near their ceiling. Most of their stars are under 26, they're locked into long contracts, the club isn't bleeding money, the dressing room has a clear identity, but more importantly, they don't fear anyone. They can go toe-to-toe with City, outrun Arsenal, outplay Spurs. And in Europe, they've already started bullying the traditional heavyweights with pace, energy and precision. And the big clubs, they've noticed. Madrid, Bayern, PSG, they see what's forming at Stamford Bridge. Not just a good team, but a cycle, a generation. A system that could dominate for years, not months. This is what makes Chelsea scary in 2026. They're not overachieving, they're not in a purple patch. They're right on schedule. And that, more than anything, is what's putting pressure on everyone else. Because when a squad this young plays this well, this fast, with this much depth, there's only one thing to do: try to stop them. And most clubs, they're not ready. So here we are. Chelsea in 2026 isn't a fairy tale in the making. It's not a maybe someday story. It's real, it's built, and it's already here. They've taken the chaos of 2023 and turned it into calculated dominance. They've replaced panic buys with player development. They've gone from tactical confusion to a clear, ruthless identity. And the squad? Young, fast, fearless, with enough depth to run deep in every competition they enter, and enough talent to go toe-to-toe with Europe's elite. This is what a rebuild is supposed to look like. Messy at first, mocked by many, but executed with vision. And oh, now the same people who laughed in 2024 are starting to look nervous in 2026. Because this Chelsea squad doesn't care about the past. They're not asking for permission, they're here to win. And they've got the firepower to do it. So if you're a football fan who's been sleeping on Chelsea, this is your wake-up call. Watch this team, study them, fear them, because the Premier League isn't ready. Europe isn't ready, and Chelsea, they've never been more ready than right now. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button. It tells the algorithm this is worth watching. Drop a comment with which Chelsea player you think is going to explode in 2026. And if you want more deep dives like this, subscribe. This is just the beginning. The rebuild is over. The takeover has started.